Again, if Donald Trump was a Star Wars character, who would he be?
Obi-Wan Kenobi, because he is wise.
Waters World starts right now. Welcome to Waters World. I'm Jesse Waters. The left stooped to a new low this week after Stephen Colbert attacked President Trump in a vile rant on his late-night show.
Mr. Trump, your presidency, I love your presidency. I call it disgrace the nation. It's true. He doesn't stand by anything except the dressing room door at Miss USA pageant. Let's see, let me read this presidential briefing. Yep, I got the briefing right here. You attract more skinheads than free Rogaine. You have more people marching against you than cancer. The only thing your mouth is good for is being Vladimir Putin's holster.
Wow. Despite the hashtag #FireColbert going viral, he refused to apologize, saying he would do it again, but maybe just change a few crude words. Now the FCC vowing to look at the facts that are alleged and apply the obscenities law. Jimmy Kimmel defended Obamacare this week while delivering a heartfelt message about his son.
Billy was born with a heart disease. Dr. Starnes opened his chest and fixed one of the two defects in his heart. President Trump last month proposed a $6 billion cut in funding to the National Institute of Health. And thank God our congressman made a deal last night to not go along with that. They actually increased funding by $2 billion. No parent should ever have to decide if they can afford to save their child's life. It just shouldn't happen.
If it seems like President Trump has been criticized more than past presidents, well, he has been. Just look at these numbers. During the first 100 days in office, late-night hosts made more than 1,000 jokes about President Trump, much more than any other president in recent history. While late night has always been critical of our presidents, it's usually been cleaner and more bipartisan. To show you what I mean, here's what jokes used to sound like.
Can you believe a drug scandal in the White House? That's the only high the Carter administration has had in 18 months.
Hey, Letterman, they say, why don't you make jokes about Obama? And I say, well, all right, I'll tell you why. Good question. And, oh, you want to know why? Okay. I don't make jokes about him because I don't want the FBI tapping my phone.
When the president had that heart scare, how scary was that?
I wasn't that scared.
Was it, you had Obamacare?
But now anytime President Trump is involved, even a good humor joke can backfire.
Can I mess your hair up?
You say yes? Go ahead. With my hairspray.
After that, Jimmy Fallon took heat from his colleagues for humanizing the president. So what's changed about late-night comedy? Joining me now to discuss is best-selling author and conservative columnist Ann Coulter. It's not what it used to be, Ann. Much more vicious. What happened?
There seems to be an unquenchable thirst on the left for just a string of epithets about Donald Trump, whether it's the New York Times or the late-night alleged comics. I mean, what was most striking about the former stand-up late-night hosts is they were jokes. They were identifiable as jokes. There's a twist. There's something funny that catches you by surprise, and that's why you laughed. But now, just show after show after show, it's just a string of epithets, and what's supposed to be funny is, you know, the wordy epithet or the imagery being used.
It's cheap. And it's easy.
There's no joke
It doesn't take any clever writing to pull something like that off. And we studied this. Now, they're on pace to exceed jokes about Clinton in '98, which is the same year he had the Lewinsky scandal. Trump's about to beat him. I mean, come on. There's no material.
I would contest. I mean, you had a list of jokes told about Obama, and I remember the jokes about Obama. They were never about Obama.
No.
They were about Obama's critics. So his name would get mentioned, but it was weird having the comedy world act as this Praetorian guard against the precious Obama.
That's right. I know. They circled the wagons because he couldn't take care of himself. Now, this week, House Republicans narrowly passed the Obamacare repeal bill. And while Republicans celebrated with a beer bash, Democrats took it as a win for 2018 midterms. Okay, so the Democrats think this is going to cost the House Republicans in 2018. How do you see it?
I think it probably will.
Uh-oh.
Let's hope it doesn't pass the Senate. Look, so healthcare has been socialist for a long time in this country. Even before Obamacare came along, we have Veterans Affairs, we have Social Security, Disability, Medicare, Medicaid. So it was already about 60, 70% socialist. Socialism doesn't work. I don't know why we have to keep explaining this to our representatives. Doesn't work. What you want is a free market. And the problem with all of these bills, from Obamacare to what Republicans are doing, is they won't separate the welfare cases from the free market cases. America is not going to allow people to die on the street. Don't worry, Jimmy Kimmel. And I really hate that business of, this is what I described in Godless as liberals using human shields to make political arguments. They send out their sick child, the Jersey girls with their husbands.
But that's very effective. And, the Republicans talk about numbers and costs when it comes to health care, and I think the country wants to feel safe and secure and taken care of.
I'm no one who can pay for his own health insurance is safe. I can't go to Sloan Kettering. No one can go to Sloan Kettering on a New York plan.
You're not safe because people like firebomb cars when you come speak at their universities.
Yeah, that is true too. What you need to do is, what they ought to do, and I wrote this up 2 weeks ago, it's a very simple plan. You keep Obamacare. There are no protesters. Anybody who needs Obamacare, they get Obamacare.
Okay.
But you also say there shall be a nationwide free market in health insurance. The end, period, love, and.
So how do you have...
gets to buy health insurance that I want. I won't have to pay because I'm really sure I'm not going to need drug addiction therapy. I'm not going to need gambling addiction therapy. I don't need marital counseling. I'm required. Right now, we're paying for welfare through our private, quote, private insurance premiums.
Right.
That's why my health insurance is $700 a month, but I can't go to a decent hospital.
But then how would you have the individual mandate with Obamacare at the same time having the freedom of the free market?
The individual mandate was always kind of a red herring. The reason conservatives raised that was because that was how we were going to attack it constitutionally. But as for requiring it, in terms of policy, they don't have the constitutional authority. Congress doesn't have constitutional authority to do 90% of what they do. So what? Insurance on the free market would end up costing, and we know this because now I also have Christian health insurance. They're not allowed to call it insurance. It's a carve-out from Obamacare, and you buy the insurance you want. So I don't have to pay for drug counseling. You know how much it is?
No.
$50 a month.
That's cheap.
That's with a very limited pool.
Cheap.
Young kids would all get health insurance the same way. Right now we're required. It's as if you live in Florida and you have to buy earthquake insurance. And in California, you have to buy, hurricane insurance. No, buy the insurance you want on the free market.
Makes perfect sense.
So many people would leave the welfare rolls that then we'd know exactly how many people need the government help.
I think if the Republicans just don't waste $1 billion on a broken website, I think they're going to be just fine in the midterms. Ann, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Up next, Waters...